Hey, I thought I'd do another one of my adventures in media hoarding series videos just for fun. It is February 19th. And I did a bunch of thrifting and actually did a really interesting trip up and down the Washington and Oregon coast over the week. One of the things I found, there's a Goodwill I go to a lot that for some reason I've talked about this before, they accidentally let cool records out into the bins. And by cool, I mean like not impressive, but just ones that they could probably sell online. Maybe they can't because of the condition, but one of those was the Tubes. I've been picking up their records. I think I have White Punks on Dope, or actually it's the Tubes, and a couple other albums. This one is, I think it's their third LP, the Complete Backwards Principle concept album. I haven't even listened to it yet, but the songs, Sushi, and there's another song, Talk to You Later, were kind of like new wave radio hits. And then I remember around this time they were on SCTV as part of the Fish and Musician thing with Gil Fisher, and that was really funny. So yeah, I plan on playing this. I also have their there's one that is like TV themed, and I've played that one before at the same thrift store. I found this is something I collect, is bad biker movie soundtracks, and this one features actually not a bad soundtrack. It's Davy Allen, The Arrows, but it's a movie with Nancy Sinatra and Peter Fonda, The Wild Angels, which is great. I recommend it. But I really recommend the soundtrack by Davy Allen and The Arrows. Is really cool fuzz tone workouts, and it's great, especially the Wild Angels theme. That's a fun record, and I have quite a few of those biker movie soundtracks, and they're fun. Even a compilation or two that features that stuff that came out in the 80s or 90s. And then at one of my favorite pawn shop or thrift stores for getting just oddball records, and a lot of them religious and how-to type records. This one is Moments of Meditation, Marion Reith on the marimba. So it's a gospel marimba record. I haven't listened to it yet. I imagine it's fun. But I collect that kind of thing. Just oddball gospel records played on unusual instruments. Like I really like the Marcy Tigner record that it's her playing gospel songs on slide trombone. And Marcy Tigner later gained more fame by being Little Marcy, this little puppet character that she would inhabit, because her own voice was so high-pitched that she wanted to do gospel music but couldn't do it, so channeled it through this little puppet. And I'll show you my Marcy collection sometime. They're kind of horrifying. She was a genuinely nice person. A good friend of mine interviewed her for Cool and Strange Music magazine, and I've read the interview, and one of these days we're going to resurrect the recording of the interview and try to get it so that it's listenable. But yeah, Marcy Tigner, pretty interesting character. I don't know why I'm talking about her, because that's not the records I'm showing. Another one of these that I found at the Goodwill in Warrenton, Oregon, just yesterday. I went to the Goodwill that is like right kind of between Astoria and Seaside in Oregon. A friend and I stopped in there, and I found this. And I bought it really only for one song, and that is Fantasy, which got a lot of airplay on FM, like classic rock radio. It's just a really cheesy kind of sci-fi themed song, and with this synthesizer kind of intro, which I love. I love music from this time, like the late 70s, early 80s, or mid 70s, where they had like just some kind of wacky synthesizer segue. Like one that springs to mind is the Steve Miller's Jet Airliner has a really cool one, and I want to collect all those. One of these days do a mashup of them. Oops, I told people. And then I found this one, Herbie Mann and his Memphis Underground, which Herbie Mann is best known as the jazz flautist with the like being shirtless on his cover. Like in this one, he's actually shirtless. Thank you very much, Herbie. But I bought this because it has on guitar, it has Sonny Chirac, who I like a lot, and he's on it, as is Roy Ayers on Vibes. So Herbie Mann actually employed some really cool jazz musicians on his records. And I'm not throwing shade on Herbie himself. I'm not super familiar, but I had to have this because I knew that Sonny Chirac was on it. So I bought that one at Goodwill. And then there's this thrift store that I really like, and we visited it. And I heard that it was going out of business, but it's on right on the edge of the town Seaside in Oregon, and it's called Rag and Bone, and it's kind of known for its record bin. I just have always found something kind of unusual in it. I used to find a lot of weird, batshit crazy, like gospel records in there and sermon records. They have this bin that it's something like rock and not rock, and I always found that funny. But in there, and I shouldn't have bought it, but this is kind of like a rescue. I paid way too much for this, but it's a really grotesquely mangled DJ promotion copy of King Crimson's Starless and Bible Black, I love this album. It's like that classic trio kind of era of King Crimson. Well, not trio. It's David Cross on violin, Robert Fripp, of course, John Wetton on bass and voice, and William Bruford on drums. So, but it's just a great album, and I've never owned it on vinyl, and I paid too much. The record sleeve, not only does it have a cutout, and it's a DJ copy with a DJ sticker, which I like for whatever reason. I just think that's kind of cool, personally. I like also owning radio station records, that have scrawled over it, company, property of. I like those. I don't know why. I feel like they have extra mojo, as long as they're not totally beaten up. But the vinyl is in really good shape. It's just that the cover is just gross and hammered. And it being like a matte sleeve, they don't take abuse real well. And then another one, this is strictly a rescue. I have this record, and I thought, well, I'll buy this and give it to somebody, because I love this record so much in this kind of evangelical kind of way. I would like to give this to somebody. And then I didn't realize at the time, but the cover is just completely toast. But it's 801 Live, which is Phil Manzanera of Roxy Music, Bill McCormick from Roxy Music, of course, and with Francis Monkman, Simon Phillips, Lloyd Watson, and of course Brian Eno, and he was known as Eno. And I love this record a lot. It's got a really cool version of the Beatles' Tomorrow Never Knows, and a lot of really cool songs that would later be on Eno records, like Third Uncle and Babies on Fire. And a really cool song that I think is unique to this album called Miss Shapiro that is really cool. But yeah, I love this album a lot, and I'll probably just give it to somebody that I think would appreciate it. And that's like rescue records. Sometimes I feel bad when I do it, but sometimes when there's a record I love it so much, I buy it, of course, to see if it's in better condition than the one I already have. But I feel like somebody worthy needs to buy it, especially if it's a Goodwill. If it's a record store, I might leave it, and they're usually priced more. But in a Goodwill, I kind of feel compelled to take it and give it to somebody who'd want it. And then and then I found this. This is cool. I'll show this next. A cool compilation, which I featured on my show. I had it digitally. Hicks from the Sticks, and it's a really neat compilation from the 80s, 1980, of like post-punk kinds of bands, like Clock DVA's on there, and then a lot of bands you never heard of before. A band called Aircraft with a K, Ex-Bel Airs, and other ones. They Must Be Russians, and I'm So Hollow. Pretty cool compilation. There are 2 volumes of this. There's Hicks from the Sticks 2, which I've also featured on my radio show, but I don't own the vinyl of that one, and now I have this one. So I'm on the prowl for the other one, just because they're nice comps. And then this is just showing something I bought just because I love it, and it's kind of new. It's one of the newer reissues of Sonic Youth's Bad Moon Rising, which I've had on CD for decades, but I've never owned it on vinyl, and this is one of the reissues that came out relatively recently, and that's nice to have, just because I love it. It's kind of rare that I love a record so much that I absolutely have to have it on vinyl, but I would say that's one of them. I'm not one of those people that really care if I have it on vinyl or don't have it on vinyl. And then this last one, this is a total surprise purchase. I was really jazzed to find it. It's a compilation that's called Troubled Troubadour, but was having technical difficulties, and so I had to edit out of that. But anyway, this compilation called Troubled Troubadours came out in Omni Recordings. And it's kind of a semi-legit label. I think sometimes they reissue these fantastic comps, and I think that sometimes maybe the rights aren't completely secured, because these comps, it seems like they appear in print and then they disappear. And I've been trying to get this on Discogs for a number of years, just even on CD, and they sell before I could even get them. But I just found it just by browsing in my favorite record store, Everybody's Music. And so really happy to have it. It has its little OB, which I don't care about a ton. I will preserve it. I won't destroy it. I'm not a barbarian, but I don't care if records have hype stickers on them or anything. Yeah, this is actually sealed too. So this was a fun find for me, and I'll probably play lots of this on my radio show. One song that I play a lot, but I have the original LP, is Mark Slade's Are They Gonna Shoot God? It's a really cool song with a guy trying to explain to his young kid, after maybe somebody gets assassinated on the news on TV or something, trying to explain to his son, don't worry, they're not going to shoot God. And it's a really wonderfully sappy song by Mark Slade, and he doesn't sing real well. I think he was some kind of wannabe heartthrob actor, and maybe his label said, put out a record. And he did, and he really can't carry a tune, and it's really schmaltzy, and it's worth it. But there are other really cool songs on here. Basically, it's country music that's really dark. Like there's a Henson Cargill song, Daddy, What's a Tree? And that's really good. There's two Hank Williams Jr. songs on here, which I've not heard yet. Anyway, Henson Cargill did that fantastic kind of children's song called Skip a Rope. Burl Ives, The Times They Are Changin'. There's a Homer and Jethro song, I Couldn't Spell Pft. And Trooper Jim Foster with 4 chrome wheels. And the Trooper Jim Foster songs are they're like car wreck songs, or praising like lawmen or something. They're just really great. And Dolly Parton does The Bridge, which is another tragic country song. So yeah, that'll be fun. But it's just some crap that I put in my collection recently. I'll keep doing these. I keep running into CDs a lot. There was a kind of a goofy bunch of YouTube videos lately. It's like the CD revival, and it's like I never stopped buying CDs. CDs were great. It's kind of goofy. That's like that people are rediscovering CDs, and it's like, to me, it doesn't seem like they were maybe as obsolete as people would have them, but it's just goofy. Who knows? Anyway, oh yeah, like and subscribe if you like this. This is wonderfully professionally produced content. If you like it, like and subscribe. I'll make more. If there's more reaction to it, I'll make more of these. So who knows? Bye.